Hi, hello, welcome back. You are watching in real time me slowly finding my style over the last few months. We last saw the failure of gouache painting and sort of a win of watercolor painting, as well as 24 minutes of me losing my mind about Hannibal. We are repeating that process today and doing it in a more quick manner. I have three speed paints for you. Two are sketches and one is a full painting. Only about a 6-minute video, but I felt like after the last one where I held you and would not let you leave as I talked about Harry Potter versus Hannibal, I felt like you guys deserved a shorter video. One that maybe wouldn't make you second guess your life choices. But anyway, these are just some warm-up drawings that I wanted to do. I was really trying to figure out like what's a good sketchy style. I started learning, like I said, you're seeing in real time me kind of finding my style. I have found that while I love to lay down line work, I actually really go for like creamy, painterly styles, like what you see with the Hannibal up top. I really like that's the word that I think of, creamy. It looks like almost like you could just scoop it up. It's just nice. I got frustrated, I flipped back to a sketch, and then I moved on. And if it's not the best, then you leave it for good. Now, I have found that I really like sketching. I don't know if that's just because it's more familiar and it's kind of like what you have the most practice with. You're always typically going to lay down a sketch before you do anything else, so you're getting double the practice, and it's really what you start with most times. However, um, I'm just now looking back on my previous works and what I like the most and figuring out, oh, I like painting and understanding that that's probably where my style actually lies. And that, I can always go back to sketching, but that's not really my strength because that takes a lot of understanding of face planes and bone structure, and I'm more of a shape language girly, and I like to carve out shadow and light because it's a little bit easier for me to understand. However, I love seeing people do flat paintings, like flat colors, but that has not really been successful for me, so I'm learning that sometimes you have to give up on your dreams if you want to have success. Um, but seriously, I did realize that the way that I've been painting is not probably the way I should be painting because it's just not coming to me naturally and it's not looking as good as what I do naturally. However, I hadn't been doing my natural style because I had a really poor grasp of color theory, which is a running theme in these videos, which I now have a better grasp on, but it's still taking me a while to really understand it and commit those lessons to memory. These have been really good lessons for me, this practice, these sketches to get to where I wanted to be at. Because you do need a good underpainting or undersketch if you really want to lay down good shapes. Um, you can go in without sketching layers, but that's not for me. That's for someone more talented. So, it is what it is. You might notice that I'm doing these like triangle faces. That was something I saw cynics do in a how to draw faces type of video. And it was also something that I saw an artist doing on Instagram. And I thought, you know what? I'm gonna steal that and I'm gonna try it. But I definitely think it's more successful when you're using this method with like pencil sketches. And it just kind of helps you find the skull. This was a great Will Graham drawing that I did without reference, and I was so pleased with it. I was like, who am I? But I don't know if that was just because I had been drawing so much of them, and then I just kind of already knew what their likeness looked like in my head. But man, they turned out so good. I was so proud. And sometimes that happens, you just have a really good sketch day, and I wish we could have those more often. I thought these were really successful. I was really going for like a blending look and just having kind of like layers into almost like a soft painted look, or like what would happen whenever you blend out pencil. And I just kept trying to get that through digital means, mostly because I just didn't have my sketchbook around and I didn't want to go find it. And I just thought, you know what? I'm gonna try to recreate it on the iPad, and I think it was successful. Looking at these now, I think I could go back and grab these and paint over them, and they would be strong. So because of that, I do think that I like doing lines, but I still think that my painting style that I've found is more successful, which is what you're gonna see at the end of this video. I decide, you know what, these have went really well. I'm feeling really confident in structuring these faces. I'm gonna go in with a brush and just go for it. And I downloaded the Jeans sketch brushes, not the harmonics that I spoke about in another video, which could be a future video. I may not have even spoke about it yet. Who knows? I'm not sure what order these videos are going to go up in, but it was his flat stream brush, I think is what it's called. And I was having a lot of fun using it, but trying to replicate what I did here. And I think it's kind of funny because I feel like I was trying to draw Will in the middle, and then I gave up and was like, let's just draw Hannibal instead. Because I did want to draw them close together. I think this was the iconic horse scene where Hannibal is like holding Will's head after he just about like offs that guy. But I ended up not being able to really pull it out and get it figured out. And I think some of that was just that I should have walked away instead of struggling. And I didn't. And so I gave up, which is not, like the best success story, but that's what I did. I got frustrated and I walked away. And when I came back, I was like, you know what? I'm going into painting. And so this is what I did right after that. It was probably the next day, maybe a little bit later. And I thought, okay, I'm feeling really strong with my lines. I'm gonna throw down the lines from a photo reference that I had found on Google. And I was like, I'm only going to color with a paintbrush um, and see like how successful I can be because I was frustrated. I started drawing the face. It wasn't looking right, which made me mad because, the day before I was doing great with my lines. Um, And so I have to kind of decide what I'm gonna do. Am I gonna work and work and work and get a strong sketch to go under the painting? Or am I going to get it to a finished point and just paint over it? And that's something that I've really been struggling with is like not overworking the painting or the sketch because sometimes I get to a point and I should walk away. I shouldn't overwork it. And instead, I just keep going because I don't know how to quit. And with this one, I did find success in just being like, whatever, like right here, that it does not really look like him. But I was like, my new motto is finished is better than perfect because perfect will never be finished. So I started throwing down the shape and I turned on the symmetry mode, which I feel like is the biggest hack in Procreate. So I turned on drawing assist and I was drawing it so that I could see it, without having to flip the canvas. I could see both at the same time. And that was a really useful trick for this because I was obviously already struggling with the lines and the planes of the face. And so having this um mirrored on both sides helped my eye see better because I was obviously struggling with that and unable to tell the planes apart as well as I wanted to. Another problem that I have determined about myself because I like to make things hard is I'm using poor reference photos. This would have been so much easier if I had just chosen a well-lit reference photo, but I didn't, so I struggled through it. But at this point, I actually feel like it was pretty successful. It ended up being more stylized and less of a likeness, but I didn't mind it. And this is actually one of the paintings that made me go, I really like the way this looks. Maybe I should be going towards that style more. And you'll see in the next video, I go even harder into this style, and I think I found the way that I'll be painting for the future. So I hope you enjoy. Short video, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!